the police have murdered yet another Black man. This is not surprising, but seeing as how the trial for Derek Chauvin is happening now, the fact that the police murdered another innocent Black man during the trial for a police officer who murdered a Black man is astonishing. If this doesn't show you that we have a systemic problem in our country, I don't know what will. Here's what CNN reported, so we can get into some more details here. Minnesota officer shouted taser, but fired a gun instead, fatally shooting a man at a traffic stop, police say. Now, think about this. This is a Black man. Look at, he has a small child. There he is holding his child at a 1-year birthday. So this man was stopped, just a traffic stop, but was murdered. A 20-year-old man was fatally shot during a traffic stop after a Minnesota police officer shouted taser, but fired a handgun instead, Brooklyn Center Police Chief Tim Gannon said. Daunte Wright was driving with his girlfriend Sunday afternoon when he was pulled over in the Minneapolis suburb. Earlier, police said they tried to take the driver into custody after learning during a traffic stop that he had an outstanding warrant. The man got back into his vehicle and an officer shot him, police said. They said the man drove several blocks before striking another vehicle. Body cam video released by the police chief Monday provided more details about what happened. Wright got out of his car, but then got back in. It's not clear why, but the police chief told reporters it appeared from the video that Wright was trying to leave. An officer is then heard shouting, taser, 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 but then fires a gun, not a taser, at Wright. Holy shit, the officer screams. I shot him. I would just like to point something out. Just pointing this out. Tasers and guns are not the same thing. Tasers and guns are not the same thing. Just making that clear. The police chief said the shooting appeared to be an accidental discharge that resulted in the tragic death of Mr. Wright. Gannon offered his deepest sympathies to Wright's family and vowed continued transparency. Yeah, very transparent. So transparent, you guys. Good job. There's nothing I can say to lessen the pain that Mr. Wright's family, friends, for that feeling of loss that they must have, the chief said. That pain is shared by the community and also all those involved in the incident. The shooting happened in Brooklyn Park, about 10 miles from where former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was on trial for the killing of another Black man, George Floyd. Governor Tim Walz offered his condolences to Wright's family. Gwen and I are praying for Daunte Wright's family as our state mourns another life of a Black man taken by law enforcement, Walz tweeted. Wright called his mother during the traffic stop. The police chief said Wright was initially pulled over due to an expired tag. Wright was initially pulled over due to an expired tag. Does anyone think that if a white man had an expired tag that we would right now be talking about a murder? Would that white man be dead right now? Does anyone think that? No, because that's not what would have happened. That white man would not be dead right now. Daunte is dead right now because he's a Black man. This is systemic. 10 miles away from where Derek Chauvin is on trial for killing George Floyd. Gannon said he had very little information on the warrant, other than it was a gross misdemeanor warrant. Moments before he was killed, Wright called his mother and said he had been pulled over. He was with his girlfriend Sunday afternoon when a police officer stopped him. His mother, Katie Wright, told CNN affiliate WCCO. He said they pulled him over because he had air fresheners hanging from the rear view mirror. Katie Wright said. Raise your hand if you have an air freshener hanging from your rear view mirror. Literally, that's what air fresheners are for. That's where you're supposed to hang them. Where else are you supposed to put your car's air freshener? That is where you're supposed to hang them. So this man is dead because he wanted his car to smell nice. And oh yeah, because he's black. During their call, Katie Wright heard some of the conversation between police and her son. She told CNN affiliate KARE. I heard the police officer come to the window and say, "Put the phone down and get out of the car." And Daunte said, "Why?" And he said, "We'll explain to you when you get out of the car," Katie Wright told KARE. So I heard the phone get either put on the dashboard or dropped. And I heard scuffling. And I heard the police officer say, "Daunte, don't run." And then the other officer said, "Put the phone down," and hung it up. It was not immediately clear to CNN how Katie Wright knew police hung up her son's phone. She also told KARE she called her son back about a minute later, and his girlfriend picked up the phone and said that he had been shot. She put the phone on the driver's side, and my son was laying there lifeless. Katie Wright wept as she told WCCO about her son's final moments. "He didn't deserve to be shot and killed like this," she said. Wright was headed to his brother's new home. Daunte Wright's older brother, Damek Bryant, told CNN he thinks Wright did not know he had a warrant out for his arrest. Moments before the traffic stop, Bryant said, Wright was heading to Bryant's new home for a visit. Bryant said he had texted Wright asking him what was taking so long, and Wright said he had stopped by a car wash. Bryant said when Wright was pulled over, he sent a text saying, "I got pulled over," and asked about insurance information. Bryant said he told his brother to call their mother for that information, and he did. But by that time, Bryant said, officers had already entered Wright's name in the system. So he called my mom, and she said, "Put me on the phone with the officer," but he already told him his name, not thinking he had a warrant. Cops came back to the car, and the original stop was for air fresheners. They asked him to step out the car, and his first instinct was, "What did I do? What's wrong?" And they were like, "Well, put the phone down, get out the car now, we'll talk to you about it when you get out." So he gets out the car, and there's a bunch of police already, Bryant said. So they asked him to put his hands behind his back, and then he tries to get back in the car to leave, and they fired. Bryant said Wright's girlfriend called my mom on FaceTime and said they shot Daunte, and mom was like, "Let me see him," and he was slumped over, Bryant said, wiping away tears. "We don't even really know why. We know what happened, and we don't know why." And as you guys probably saw on social media, there were a lot of protests last night. Hundreds protested. I suspect it will grow. So now more than 500 members of the Minnesota National Guard have been activated. And the Guard said it plans to increase the numbers of members on duty in response to the events overnight in Brooklyn Center. The Guard had originally been planning to increase the number of members as closing arguments approach in the Chauvin trial. "We will continue to assist in protecting lives and property and maintaining peace in Minnesota's community." Protecting lives. Not going so great. So you can see here some of the crowd. And Wright's case was referenced today in the Chauvin trial. And they will add more police tonight. This is, of course, all extremely distressing. As Status Coup does, we will be on the ground there starting tonight. The incredible photojournalist John Farina will be there on the ground tonight and for as long as is necessary. So definitely make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. Please open a new tab right now if you are not already on Twitch and follow us, twitch.tv YouTube.com/status coup. That way, no matter what YouTube does, if they kick us off, whatever, you can see what's happening on the ground. We won't censor. We won't, interview the police and give you their PR response. We'll show you what's actually happening. Please, also, right now, open a new tab, statuscoup.pub/email, so we can keep you up to date on all of John's reporting live on the ground about what's happening in Minneapolis, Brooklyn Center, the suburb, near Minneapolis, throughout this week. Just, again, there are no words. Obviously, I'm, a privileged white girl, and I don't know how Black people in this country can possibly. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. We all, regardless of our skin color or whatever, it's time to, in my personal opinion, it's time to come together. To fight against police brutality. When George Floyd was murdered by police, there were a lot of protests all across the country. Status Coup covered a lot of them in several different states. People felt a lot of hope. Unfortunately, protests died down. The powers that be fought back, but they're not going to stop murdering Black people. They're not going to stop murdering people of color. They're not going to stop mistreating, Indigenous people. They're not going to stop. An air freshener. Where do you hang your air freshener, Minneapolis police? Where do you hang your air freshener, Brooklyn? What is it? Not Brooklyn Park. That's somewhere near where I live. Brooklyn Center police. A white person would not be dead right now. A Black man is. A son is without a father. A mother is without a son. A girlfriend is without a boyfriend. A brother is without a brother. Because some dumbass police officer is saying that they accidentally deployed their taser. I don't care, I don't care if they did accidentally do it or not. The outcome is the same. And I think you literally have to be not bright or not right in the head to make such a mistake. So either way, you deserve to lose your job and go to jail. You deserve consequences for your actions. And so that police chief who is saying that police officer will not be fired, that is absurd. And there's a reason that people are fighting back. And there is a reason that these protests will very likely grow. So once again, John Farina, the incredible freelance photojournalist, will be on the ground in Brooklyn Center, Minneapolis, Minneapolis suburb for us starting tonight. And, we'll see what happens. So I definitely urge you to join us and see what's really happening, not edited by mainstream media, not filtered through press releases from the police. And that's what we're all about here at Status Coup.